Silent Hill, a place where hope is forgotten. Determined to find more killers and victims in its cat and mouse game, the entity has went to the darkest reaches of the multiverse and plucked out an interesting, very interesting world. Plucking out a killer whose sole purpose is to exact punishment, and a survivor who's been through a lot. And with the combination of these two, both of their memories being brought out into the world of the entities, brings out a new map. Midwich Elementary School. The childhood trauma that once took place in its halls has since manifested itself into a twisted, nightmarish design. To students who were bullied by their teachers and classmates, attending Midwich Elementary School was comparable to torture. As the Order's grip on the town's supernatural energy tightened, a transformation occurred. The childhood trauma that took place in the building manifested itself. Though desks and textbooks remain, they are eerily contrasted with stained walls, rusted chains, and hanging cadavers. Any notion that this could have been a place of innocence and learning has long since faded. Cheryl Mason, a young veteran of terror. Caring and impulsive, Cheryl Mason, previously known as Heather, attempted to rebuild her life after the tragic death of her adoptive father, Harry Mason. While she had freed herself from the religious cult that pursued her since birth, she was shackled by the guilt of her father's death. A darkness punished her every night under the guise of abominable nightmares. To ease her conscience, she volunteered at a crisis intervention center for troubled youth. 3 months later, she aced training and could answer the crisis line without supervision. Yet, little could have prepared her for the first call. All she heard was static. The air thickened as black fumes rose from the ground, and suddenly she heard the voice of a woman. Someone she thought she'd never hear from again.
Why do you cling to this corrupt world? You know that only God can save us.
No, it couldn't be her. Claudia was dead. Suddenly, the world spun as she dropped to her knees, nauseous. Hot bile traveled up her throat, and she retched warm blood on the floor. Then the spinning stopped as swiftly as it began. Cheryl looked up and saw she was somewhere else. A cold, hopeless place. No stranger to indescribable terror, Cheryl Mason has grown emboldened by the looming presence of evil. Drawing strength from the horrors of her past, she has learned to manipulate power from beyond to achieve her noble goal. Her personal perks, Soul Guard, Blood Pact, and Repressed Alliance, allow her to survive through immense hardship, stay in contact with her team members, and plan objectives. Soul Guard. You have been through immense hardship, and you're stronger for it. After being healed from or having recovered from the dying state, Soul Guard grants you the Endurance status effect for the next 8 seconds. Any damage taken that would put you into the dying state will instead trigger the Deep Wound status effect, after which you have 20 seconds to mend yourself. Taking any damage while under the effect of Deep Wound or its timer runs out will put you in the dying state. Soul Guard allows you to completely recover from the dying state when you are affected by the cursed status effect. Soul Guard has a cooldown of 30 seconds. Blood Pact. It is as if a latent part of yourself has awakened. You feel like you can reach out beyond yourself for assistance. When either you or the obsession become injured by any means, Blood Pact activates. Your auras are constantly revealed to one another. Completing a healing action on the obsession, or having them complete one on yourself, grants both you 7% haste status effect. This effect lasts you long as you both remain within 16 meters of one another. Blood Pact deactivates after leaving the radius. Blood Pact is temporarily disabled if you yourself are the obsession. Reduces the odds of becoming the initial obsession of the killer by 100%. The killer can only be assessed with one survivor at a time. Repressed Alliance. You are accustomed to being hunted by malicious forces, and you have begun using it to your advantage. After repairing a generator for a total of 45 seconds, Repress the Lion activates. Press the active ability button to call upon the entity to block the generator you are currently repairing for 30 seconds, after which Repress the Lion deactivates. The aura of the black generator is revealed to all survivors in white. Repress the Lion can only be triggered when no other survivors are repairing a generator. Cheryl Mason has seen it all and bested it all. Killing a god is no easy feat, but she did it. So she's ready to kill this one if need be. But it won't be easy, because the entity has called upon someone that is ready to exact punishment. Pyramid Head, the Executioner. A sadistic and merciless executioner, Pyramid Head is fixated on dispensing punishment through pain. Encumbered by the steel frame upon his head, and with a hulking great blade in tow, he stalked the hellish corridors of Silent Hill, committed to a duty that no one truly understood, where he trod even monsters fled to shadows, and those who crossed his path fell victim to unrestrained acts of aggression. When his duty was complete and his presence no longer needed, he prepared for the long rest. And yet, his skills were required elsewhere. The fog that streamed over him was somehow different than that he was accustomed to in Silent Hill, as if each whiff contained the nerves of a creature, writhing, seeking him out. There was an unspoken agreement in that moment. The billowing cloud was an invitation to duty and sadism, and Pyramid Head, taking a step into the fog, accepted his obligation once more. Merciless and unforgiving, the executioner brings his own form of twisted justice to the fog, tormenting survivors with hazards around the map. Hooks are an effective tool, but nothing punishes quite like a cage of torment. All hope will swiftly fade the moment Pyramid Head raises his mighty blade to deliver the final judgment. His personal perks, Forced Penance, Trail of Torment, and Deathbound, allow him to aggressively defend his prey while deceiving and tracking survivors. Forced Penance. Those who stand in the way of duty will suffer harsh judgment. Survivors who take a protection hit suffer from the broken status effect for the next 80 seconds. Trail of Torment. You guide your victims along the path of pain and punishment. Performing the damage generator action on a generator activates Trail of Torment. Grant the undetectable status effect until the generator stops regressing. The aura of the damage generator is revealed to all survivors in yellow. Trail of Torment has a cooldown of 60 seconds. Deathbound. Those whose lives are intertwined in darkness are destined to suffer together. Whenever a survivor heals another survivor for the equivalent of one health state, at least 32 meters away from you, Deathbound activates. Causes the survivor to scream and trigger a loud noise notification. For the next 60 seconds, the survivors suffer from the Oblivious status effect whenever they are farther than 8 meters from the healed survivor. Once finished, Pyramid Head was ready for a long sleep, but the entity had other plans, as it took Pyramid Head and placed him in its cat and mouse game. Now survivors will be judged and punished accordingly.